Hey, Happy New Year! It's good to be back, and the next video that I'm going to be making and talking about here today is misidentification between Enneagram 2 and Enneagram 6. Now, I do want to say, though I haven't made a video on this misidentification before, I did actually do a write-up post on it on the Enneagram Girl blog. If you want to check it out in writing form, you can find it there. Some of the main differences we talk about when we are looking at 6 and 2 are really as simple as heart type and head type. Enneagram 2, the helper, is heart type in that there are issues of shame, there are issues of self-image and self-worth. And when we look at that similarity between 2 and 6, which is really people orientation and desiring the approval of others, that's really where an Enneagram 2 is coming from when we say, why did they desire the approval of others? Which is that self-worth issue. So just like 2, 3, and 4, all the heart types deal with self-worth. But when we look at 2 versus 6, we really see those different issues. 6, on the other hand, is still going to have that desire for the approval of others, but with a really different reason. Head types don't deal as much with self-worth as they do with security issues or fear of not having security. So an Enneagram 6, the Loyalist, is really going to desire the approval of others from the standpoint of, am I secure or am I safe? Is this person going to be loyal to me? Can I depend on this entity or this vehicle in my life? Now that can sometimes be people, but other times it can, as I was just sort of alluding to, sometimes it can be bigger things like companies or even entities like sports teams, political parties, institutions. 6s tend to have those loyalistic tendencies towards things that are larger than the self in order to feel secure. And that's really where that desire for approval comes from, is feeling like, okay, I'm safe because this thing bigger than me is existing, is dependable, is reliable. 2, on the other hand, as we were saying, really doesn't operate from a security standpoint as much as it operates from that standpoint of, am I valuable? Am I valuable to you? Am I valuable to this organization? Am I valuable to this entity that I'm taking part in? And that can look like so many things, just as we were saying with 6, but it really comes off more as that like heart panic of self-worth. I would say that really is the biggest difference between 2 and 6, that head-heart difference. But as with a lot of the other types, there are totally experiential differences in the way that these issues manifest in people, physiologically even, I would say. Some of those main differences, I think, though, are really in the ways in which 2 and 6 come across. So because they're both types that desire the approval of people, 2 and 6 can both have the tendency to lay themselves on the line for others, almost to an unhealthy degree. But the big difference between what that looks like is that 2s tend to burn themselves out more and really in that state have resentment and feelings of pride. Pride is the core sin of 2. In that feeling of, I did all these things for everyone else and for you, and you owe me. It's that feeling of transactional love that 2 has. Now 6, on the other hand, when they lay themselves on the line to an unhealthy extent, it tends to look more like anxiety and trying to keep the head above water and saying, okay, I'm going to keep doling out. I'm going to keep laying myself down in order to be safe and in order to live another day. It really is operating out of that mode of fear, as opposed to the 2 operating out of the mode of really that self-worth and pride, and in saying, I don't want anyone to think that I'm weak. This is also the reason that 2, when we look at the health spectrum, disintegrates to 8. That feeling of, I don't want anyone to know that I'm weak, or really in more 2 language, I don't want anyone to know that I need. 6, on the other hand, disintegrates to 3. So when we see that happen for a 6, see that really happen more in regards to image focus, a lot of sixes that I know who are under stress and really functioning in the in a place that's not super healthy, kind of try to get their security needs met through the approval of people in an image focused sense. So a lot of sixes under stress that I've seen tend to fixate too much on fitness, too much on health and nutrition, and thinking, oh, if I can just live up to the culture's expectations, then I'll be safe. Two, on the other hand, as we were talking about, when it disintegrates to 8, we really have this sort of puffed up self. A 2 that I once knew, which actually you can go look at the project, the photo interview project I did to see this on the 2 photos. A 2 that I once knew described it as getting very puffy, and it really is this sort of 180 shift from let me do everything for you to this boil over moment of I've done everything for you, you owe me, and 2 gets real big and entitled. So that's kind of the difference in unhealth between 2 and 6, but we also have the differences in integration, and just for the sake of time, I'm not going to go into that too much, but you can find it at the Enneagram Girl blog. Also, I would say pay attention to instincts. A self-preservation 2 looks a lot different than a social 2. And the same goes for 6. If you have more specific questions to your own scenario in regards to this misidentification, feel free to leave a comment, but really the best way to get your question addressed is even just to email me. I do offer one-on-one consultations as well if that's something you're interested in. Thanks so much for tuning in, and make sure to come back for the next video that I'll be posting, which is continuing my wings differentiation video for Enneagram 5. So that will be the difference between 5 with a 4 wing and 5 with a 6 wing. I'll see you next time.